Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Paul, and I am a nerd, and you are lucky enough to be here for the February 2019 Worldox virtual user group meeting from Attorney Computer Systems, where today we are talking about a little trick we learned, well, didn't learn, it's always been there, to exclude emails from a list. Sometimes you get a list of all the documents relating to a matter, and 90% of it is emails, and you really don't want them in there. Mary Jo's going to show you how to get them out of there quickly. And I'm going to show you a little trick that we learned or discovered that allows you to count things. In my example, it's going to be doc types, so that you can see how many documents use each individual doc type. Kind of cool. We'll talk about why that would be useful. Without further ado, I am going to press all of the magic buttons that I need to press to get us out of here and back into Worldox. And Mary Jo's going to tell us about excluding emails.
Okay, so we are currently on a matter. It looks like the City of Mesa in our test data here. And there aren't too many emails. I don't even know if we are looking at, are we looking at that? Let me get out of that, turn it clicking, and I don't want to. Yeah, so we do have a couple of emails down there. So if we have a list that has a lot of emails, like Paul said, this can be kind of a pain because you just want to see the documents, not necessarily all those emails. So what you can do is you can use the filters option down here at the bottom. And when you get into the filters, you can change the type over here. All of these are plus signs, and we've kind of went over the filters a little bit before, but in this instance, we can change that to a minus sign. And I'm clicking, but I have control. I forget if I asked. I thought I did. Yeah, there it goes. There it goes. Okay, well, it changes into a minus sign, and then you can then exclude what you want to exclude. So if we have the plus sign, it's what do we want to include. If we use the minus sign, it's what do we want to exclude. So if we put a little check mark there in front of the message type, it will then exclude any of the email messages up above. Now, I caution you against using the email doc type only because sometimes if someone saves a document and they don't choose the right doc type for an email, it could be classified as something else, and you may miss some of those emails on that list. So I would use the actual type of document that you want to exclude. So you can do this with any document type, whether it's docs or DOX or DOCX, for Word documents, JPEGs, PDFs, Excel, whatever those are, you can exclude or include just those. To take that off, you're just going to go ahead and change that and go back to your full list. Right now, I didn't take off the message, so now I'm showing only the email messages. So we want to take that off as well. If you just want to see a certain type of document, maybe you just want all the the Word documents or the JPEGs, you always have the option up here at the top to just use the certain extension up here. So you could do the drop down and you could say, I just want to see just the Word documents, and you could pick that, and then you would only be seeing those. So you do have that option if you just want to see a certain type of document, and then to exclude them, you can use your filters and then the minus sign. And you can do that in conjunction with any other option here as well. So that's how you do it.
Yeah, you don't want to use this up here, for instance, because it's a all or nothing sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
If you really wanted to exclude Word documents,
that wouldn't be to exclude
and wanted to include Word documents, you would and wanted to include both, you'd have to use it down here.
Or you'd have to run it separate.
Right.
Yeah.
But the important thing to remember here is we're trying to exclude emails, so all we got to do is click this and turn it to a minus before we click there. Very cool. Very awesome. I'm going to talk about a trick we learned, and I will caution you that you have to be on a later release, and we're on WDU 12 in this demo system, and that's got this function. Let's say that we wanted to look at our doc types and decide which ones were being used, but more importantly, which ones really weren't being used. Maybe we want to slim down the list and get rid of the ones that really are kind of vague and therefore they're only being used a couple times. How would we know how many documents use each doc type? Well, there's a trick. So I'm going to go through it, and then I'm going to go through it again. So I'm not going to really explain. I want you to watch and not write notes until we get to the second time through. I'm going to search the client files because that's the one that has the doc types I'm interested in learning about. And when it says search what, I'm going to click that button and I'm going to choose summary reports. When I do that, I don't need, unless I only want to look for what doc types are being used for a certain client or a certain matter, but that's kind of unlikely. You then search, perform a search to include all the documents you want to include in this count. And since I want all the documents from the client files, I'm not going to put anything in any of the search boxes. I'm just going to go do a search. Now this system has several thousand documents in it, so it'll take me a couple seconds to get through this. But what I'm going to end up with is a list with counts based on what I'm sorted by. Let me say that again. Counts based on what I'm sorted by. I'm currently sorting by the modified month, January 2001, February 2001. 10 documents were modified in January, 8 in February, 12 in March, 1 in April, 1 in May, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. If I go over here and I insert a column, I'm going to insert the doc type code. Now I'm looking at a multi-layer, multi-level sort. I'm currently sorting by doc type code and then by modified month. So look at what I get here. Of all the documents, 108 of them have AGD as a doc type. But of those 108, one was modified in January 2015, one was modified in February 2015, one was modified in October 2015. So I can even set up, using this change sort, a multi-level sort. And as you can see right now, I'm sorting on, well, I'm going to make it doc type. What am I missing here? I don't think I can do that in there. Okay, so, but the point is, I'm sorted now by doc type code and then by modified month. And so I'm seeing not only the totals for each doc type, so article has only been used once, bankruptcy only used once, brief only used 3 times. AGD, AGR, those are used, ANL, those are used much more heavily. I don't have to have this multi-level sort, but it's kind of cool. So you could say, I want to look at doc type usage and then figure out what the usage is recently. And this would tell you, now this demo data set was probably created around October or around 2015. So that would show you that for this one, I still have some documents that were created, several months ago that were using this. Here, most of the use of this code was in the last, within the last 6 months or so. Here's one where 70 of the documents that use this code were created, several months earlier than this doc code. So some very useful information, whether you're doing a multi-layer, multi-level sort, or you're just doing a single sort and saying, here's all the doc types and how much they've been used. Think about all the other things you can sort on, though. Owner, author, typist. You could, if you have other fields that are in your profile, client and matter, okay? All these things can be shown in your list view and therefore can be sorted on. And when they're sorted on, you can get counts for them. Kind of cool. So that's it. I'm going to go ahead and remove this column here. Oh, Mary Jo said take out the column. So if I take this out, that's just going to sort it by give you counts by doc type. So
if you just wanted to know how many documents that is using the AGR doc type, regardless of when they were modified, you just get that.
You just take that column out.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if I want to add another column, I could do that. Maybe I want to see how these doc types split up among clients. I want to see of our biggest 10 clients, which ones are using which doc types. A bunch of different uses for this, but it's very helpful to be able to just do this list and sort it that way. Now, just to go back in here, what I did was I went into Find. I chose the cabinet that I was interested in, and it could have been multiple cabinets, but these doc types only appear in the client files cabinet, so that made sense. Then the only thing I have to do then is say I want to search and create a summary report right there. And then I may break down my search, I may not. If I was only interested in doc types that were being used by State Farm, then I would choose State Farm as the client and then sort on doc type. Or if you just want a certain doc type, you don't have to even worry about looking through the list of all of them. You can just specify that doc type. Or which ones are Bob using? Which doc types does Bob use? Which ones does Glenda use? Which ones do John use? You can the sky's the limit. There are a lot of different ways you can use this. And that's that. Next month we're going to talk about 2 features that have been added in WDU14. For those that are curious, WDU14 is out. That means that you can install it, you can get the indexer as a service running. You can use the 2 new features we're going to talk about next month, Task and Notify. And if you're really waiting for WD Web, Worldox Web 3.0, having WDU14 installed and having the indexer installed and running as a service are prerequisites. So you might as well do that part of it now. WDU14 Worldox Web 3.0 is due out imminently. We think that the new email engine that lives in Exchange rather than Outlook is going to be first, and then soon after will be Worldox Web 3.0. So those 2 new features are already out in the initial release of WDU14, Task and Notify. We'll be talking about them next month. And of course, if you've ever been to one of our webinars before, you know that we can't let you go without sending you to attorneycomputersystems.com. Notice the emphasis on that last S in the word systems, because without it, you don't get to the right place. Get there, click on the word videos. You'll notice if you hover that it pulls up a list, but if you click, it takes you to an expanded list. And these are our 6 video titles. We have 4 live events. 3 of them are virtual user group meetings. You're currently in the Worldox VUG. We also have a VUG for tabs and a VUG for Practice Master. And we have our Coffee Pot webinar series, where I invite somebody from a company that's got a product that enhances or adds value to one of our core products, tabs, Practice Master, Worldox. And they come in and give us a little nickel tour of their product. They explain what it does, how it integrates with the product that it integrates with, talk about pricing. We get to ask them questions. We also have 2 pre-recorded video titles. Mary Jo has her eBytes video series. She records 3 of these a month, 1 on tabs, 1 on Practice Master, 1 on Worldox. They're little short 2, 3, maybe 4-minute videos where we take something really cool that we think everybody should know and that we think we can explain in 2 or 3 or 4 minutes, and we record a video for it. For those topics or those functions and features that require a little bit more time to explain or dive deeply into, we have the Paul and Mary Jo show. We record 1 of these each month, and either I or Mary Jo will take one of those expanded topics and spend 10, 15, maybe even 20 minutes getting into the real deep dive of all the intricacies of whatever it is that we happen to be talking about that month. If you'll go to one of the more info for one of them, we'll go to the one we're in, the Worldox Virtual User Group meeting. Since it's a live event, we see information on the next event, but every video title has the title of it at the top and a very brief description of exactly what that thing is, in this instance, the Worldox Virtual User Group meeting. And then, as I said, since it's a live event, we have information on the next scheduled event and a place to register. We don't have links to register anymore. We just let you fill the information in right here. You simply have to fill in your first name, last name, and email, and firm or company name if you choose. Hit register and you're ready to go. I will point out, if you see something come through your email that you're interested in, but you aren't going to be available when it's being presented, register anyways. That means that the very instant that Patty hits the button to update the website with the video once it's out of post-production, she will then turn immediately to sending you an email to let you know that it's out there. So you'll be the first on your block to know and be able to see that this video is available. As we scroll down, we'll notice that we have pre-recorded versions of all the other ones we've ever done. This is where we are right now, so it's not even in post-production now. I have not sent the link to Brad, our video producer, to put his magic touch on, but as soon as he does, in usually a week or two, this will then be on the website, and of course will show up just like all these other videos that are there. You can also search. So if you're a browser, feel free to browse, but if you're looking specifically for something, click this button here and type the word you're searching for, and you'll be taken to a list of titles that have that word in the description or the title. And that's it. These videos are here 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. So please take advantage of them. They're absolutely free of charge, ready for you to use. Please do so. Everybody have a good rest of the day, a good rest of the month, and we will see you next month. Thanks much. Bye-bye.